Hello, my dear students. Welcome to your social science class. Today I'm going to explain to you Chapter 9, the early history of Nagas. In this chapter, the subtopics that I'm going to explain are the meaning of the word Naga, how it came into being, the origin and the migration of the Nagas, from where the Nagas were believed to have migrated, shifted from till Nagaland. And in the third subtopic, I will explain to you about the distribution of Nagas and with the subtopics, material culture, the social life of the Nagas, the sources of the Naga history, how we came to know about the Naga history, and also about the village administration. So let me begin with the word Naga. So there are so many words which have come up. Some of them are from Assamese word, some of them are from Arunachal word, some from the Myanmarese word. However, the two main word which has been extracted because it is believed that the word Naga has been originated from this places. One is the Myanmarese word Naka. Naka means people with pierced ears. So since the Nagas have pierced ears, our ancestors had pierced ears, it is believed that this word Naga was taken from the Myanmarese word Naga. And another is Noga, which is from Assamese word. Noga means people from the mountains, people from the hills. And since Nagaland is mostly a hilly area, it is believed that the word Naga has been taken from the Assamese word Noga, means mountain or people from the hills. So these are the two meaning of the word Naga. Then the next is origin and the migration. So we exactly do not know where and how the Nagas have migrated to Nagaland. However, based on the facts from where the American missionaries came, they wrote some books, and from those accounts we come to know about the Naga. We get some little ideas about the Naga, from where they have migrated. So it is said that the Nagas might have migrated from the countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and Philippines, because the people there, the people of Borneo and Sumatra, their culture and the culture of Nagas have quite some similarities, whether it's the way of cultivation or whether it's the physical features. There is a lot of resemblance, there's a lot of similarity. So it is believed that the Nagas might have migrated from the Southeastern Asian countries. And also based on the fact that the Nagas mostly use the seashells, it is also believed that the Nagas might have lived near the sea areas in the history times. So these are some of the facts which have been gathered, and this is how we believe that the Nagas have migrated or they have shifted from these areas, the Southeastern Asian countries, and they have settled in Nagaland. So Nagaland was an empty land. It was completely a forest land. But once they came from these countries, they settled there and they did the cultivation. And then they settled together as a family. Later on, with the increase of population, they have formed their own clans, and then the clan has become villages. So earlier there was about 10 to 20 villages in one area, but now it has increased to more and more villages with the increase of population. So that is all about the origin and migration. Now coming to the distribution of tribes. Now earlier the Nagas were living together as a family, but later on, because of the land disputes, because of some hatred and enmity among them, a lot of battles also took place among the own Naga people. But one of the fierce battle was the Battle of Kohima, where the British and the Indians, they also involved with the Nagas, and then there was a war among them. But the British wrote in their book that the Nagas were very brave soldiers, because though they did not have those modern techniques and ammunition to protect themselves, yet they just have those dows to protect them. Those spears were used to protect themselves. So it is said that the Nagas were very brave warriors and they were brave people. So this is some account that we get from the British people. Then later on, as I mentioned, that from the clans came the villages, and from the villages came the districts. So now we have so many tribes in Nagaland. Some of the major tribes are Angami, Sema, Lotha, Ao, and also we have more Nagas who also resides not only in Nagaland, but they also live in the boundaries of Assam. Some of them live towards Myanmar, some live towards Manipur, and likewise the Nagas are also scattered in different states of northeast India. Okay, so coming to the material culture. So the Nagas have been blessed with a material culture, and the Nagas are also quite skillful because they have made things from their own hands, like the spears were made, the crossbows are also used mostly by the Sangtam tribe and the Puchuri tribe, and they also have colorful ornaments, colorful outfits that are used during the festivals, and some of these outfits also represent their status in the society. So based on the color, based on the design and pattern of their clothes, these status are also recognized in the society. So under this material culture, we see that the Nagas mostly use the feathers of the hornbill. Hornbill is a bird, you might be knowing that. And they also use the animal shells. They also use the ivory. Then the teeth of the animals are also used. Then they also use the dyed animal hair. Okay, so with the help of these things, they make the ornaments, the materials are made, and they are also included in the clothing, whether it's the shawl. You can see that in the Ao Naga, in their shawl they have the image of the animals, right? So this also represents some meanings. And likewise, there are also Nagas who were so fond of using the tattoos, especially very popular among the Konyak tribes, where the tattoos also represent some meaning, right? So these are all the material culture. So the Nagas were very rich in the material culture. And apart from that, the Nagas were also very good in making things with the help of wood and bamboo, whether it's making big things like a gate, a village gate, or from this, or to small things like making spoons, and also some mugs for drinking wine, right? So all these were made from wood and bamboos. Okay. Now next is the social life. The Nagas had a very good social life. They had a very interesting social life. So in their social life, what they did was, usually in the daytime, the whole family, they used to go to the field. They involved themselves in agricultural work, in cultivation, and then in the evening they all come back home, and after their dinner they all go out near the they used to have a bonfire, and then they used to sit with their families or with their neighbors and villagers, and then at that moment they used to share stories, or sometimes they also sing folk songs together, or they used to perform the folk dances, not only during the festivals and ceremonies, but even on usual days also they gathered in that way. So that was the social life. And for the young boys and girls, they used to go and spend some time in the morungs. So morungs, you have learned in class 5 what is a morung, right? And in this morung, the young boys and girls, they learn a lot of things. A lot of knowledge is imparted by the elders in the villages. So for the boys, they used to learn about hunting, they used to learn about the art of carving, or some skills are taught in these morungs. And for the girls, they are taught some songs and dances, and also they are taught about the womanhood, so that once they also become a mother, or once they also become an elder member in the society, how they should represent themselves. So all these things are taught in the morungs, okay? So that is the social life. And on the rest days, whenever there is a rest days, the young boys, they indulge themselves in some activities like games and sports. So those days, the games and sports were completely different from the games and sports that the young boys involve themselves at the present generation. So those days their sports were wrestling, javelin throw, there were long jump, and lots more. Okay, so their life and their social life was quite different. Nowadays the youths, we hardly meet one another, right? Because everyone is spending their own personal time at home, whether it's preparing for the exams, or whether it's spending a lot of time on television or on games. But those days most of the activities were outdoor activities. The youth, they come out from their homes, they gather together in a large number, and they used to play games. A lot of times they involve in physical activities. So that was the social life. Coming to the village administration. So in village administration, what they do is the head of the village council, he used to take the major decisions. Like for example, if two person has a land dispute, so they used to come and approach the village headman. So this village headman, what he does, he used to listen to their problems. He listened to the main reasons why this issue has come up, and then he used to give them advices and give justice to the person whoever deserves it. So either he will impose some fines, or either he will give punishment to the culprit. So these kind of decisions were done by the village headman. And apart from that, there was in a village administration, there used to be a ceremony among the village whenever they are bringing the village gate from the forest. So this village gate is usually made from a big wood, from a single big wood, and these village gates are used to protect the villagers. So this village council, they used to take the responsibility of protecting the villagers. So he used to make sure that his village is safe and protected, and for that they used to keep the village gates. So whenever they get some information about some external attacks, whenever they come to know that some other village are going to attack them, they used to stay alarmed. So they used to appoint some brave men near these gates, and they used to stay there overnight. So in that way, the village is protected, and all these arrangements are done by the village council. Okay. So in page number 53, you can also see the village gate. You can have a glimpse of how the village gate looks like. Okay, usually it's very big, it's very wide, and then it is, since it is the main entrance for the village, it is beautifully designed and it is well decorated with all those patterns and designs. Okay, all right, then so this village council, what he does is, apart from taking the decisions for the village in the disputes, and apart from protecting his village, what else does he does? He also take care of the morungs. He also makes sure that the roads are well maintained, and all the basic necessities of the villagers are taken care, whether it's water or whether it's the roads. Okay, all these wells and roads, everything is taken care by the village council. So he is the main leader in the village, and the villagers used to depend on this village council for their requirements, as well as to get justice if they have come across any issues in their life. All right, coming to the sources of the Naga history. Now it is quite sad that the Nagas doesn't have a proper history of their own, because we do not have any written records, we do not have any thing that can give us the proper information about where the Nagas have migrated, or how the Naga tribes have come into being, or from where we have started using all those dialects, all those different dialects, how it originated. Everything remains a mystery. However, we have two accounts. One is the written account and the unwritten account. From there, we get all the small information, and everything is gathered, and it is made as a, and together it gives some history about the Naga people. So let me first tell you about the written records. So these written records are the American missionaries who came to Nagaland, like Reverend Miles Bronson and E.W. Clark, who came to Nagaland in order to transform the Naga into Christians, right? So when they came to Nagaland, they settled in Nagaland towards the Nokte village of Tirap district, and they also settled in Molunkimong. So during those times, what they did was they wrote some stories about the Naga people. They have also published some books. Not only those two people, but there were some other British administrations, some missionaries who came to Nagaland, and during their short span of time in Nagaland, they have written some stories, they have written some history about the Nagas. So with the help of these books, we get some information about the Naga people. So the unwritten records are those things which were used by our ancestors, like for example, the cups that was used, or the clothes that was used, or I have also told you about the tattoos, right? So our ancestors, there are some men who are about 90 to 100 years old, and they still have those tattoos in their body. So whatever they have narrated to us, they say that these tattoos had some meaning, whether some of the tattoos marks that they are from a warrior family, or some of them has stated that it was a kind of beauty for their body, right? So all these sources, the unwritten sources, also give us some accounts of the history of the Naga people, all right? So these are the sources. One is the written and the unwritten. Apart from this written and unwritten, we can see some monoliths, or we can also see some morungs, right? Or we see some huts where the skulls of the animals are kept. So by looking at this, we also get to know that the Nagas were headhunters, right? So whenever they go for battle, they used to kill those animals, or they used to kill one another, and then they used to decorate those skulls on their morung. So that was also kind of big victory for them. That also showed their superiority, right? So these are some of the histories that we get from these sources, okay? So let me get you back to the first subtopic once more. I explained to you about the word Naga. There are so many, and from all these word, we have chosen the Myanmarese word Naga, which means people with pierced ear. And we can also see that in the villages, some of our ancestors have pierced ears, right? So it is quite relatable, right? And the other one is Naga, which is from an Assamese word, where Naga means people from the mountains. It means mountains and hills. So since we also live from a mountain earlier, the foreigners, they have called Nagaland as Naga Hills, okay? So since we have come from the hills and mountains, it is also again quite relatable to the word Naga from the Assamese word. So it is believed that the word Naga has emerged from these two words, that is Naka and Noka. So next is the origin and the migration. It is also believed that the Nagas have migrated from the Southeastern Asian countries because of a similar facial features, and also because of the culture and the practices that we follow, which is quite similar to the Southeastern Asian countries, all right? Then coming to the distribution of tribes, the tribes have come up after the population increased, where the clans turned to villages and the villages turned to districts. And then about the material culture, we all know that the Nagas have different cultures, and based on their culture, based on their outfits, we can also recognize one another. We can identify who is from a Pom tribe, we can identify who is from a Kimungan tribe, right? So about the social life, I told you about the Morungs, how the young people spend their time, and also about how the activities are done by these boys whenever they have free time. Then coming to the sources of the Naga history, we have written and unwritten records written by the British administration and the American missionaries, and the unwritten records were the things that were used by our ancestors, okay? And the last one is the village administration. I told you how we consider this village council so important, because we deal on them for all the problems that we face. We depend on them, and they used to give solution in return. So that's all. We have completed our chapters for this session. I expect you to be studying, and please take care. Thank you.